Bim, guess what? We're live streaming. It's 8 o'clock on the 8th of April 2022, and we're going to have a look back on the last week and have a chat about what a week that was. First thing, is almost becoming traditional now, is the sad passing of people, and the first up is this young lady here, June Brown, aka Dot Cotton from EastEnders, was in it for 35 years. I remember first coming it, she was always smoking a cigarette and always going to the doctor's, Dr. Leg, and complaining about being ill when there was nothing wrong with her. A proper hypochondriac, quoting things from the Bible. I think I learned more about the Bible from Dot Cotton than I ever did from going to Sunday school. So yeah, it's sad. Only younger as well. Not quite there yet, tough, but working on it. Only a youngster as well. I think she was about 182. But yeah, sad passing indeed. And ironically, on Tuesday, when I was doing my drive, I think we were talking about taxis, and I mentioned Mr. Ben, which is the character you can see behind me, this guy here, and he was created by David McKee. And it ran in the 70s and 80s as a TV program for kids. It was, I mean, you can tell by the drawing, the animation wasn't great. And looking back on it, because I've seen a few clips recently, it wasn't brilliant, but I loved it because basically Mr. Ben, who was a stereotypical bloke, would go into a shop, and the guy who owns the shop, who's always dressed like Ali Baba or whatever, would come out and give him a costume to try on, and he'd go into the changing room, and then he'd have an adventure in the costume. So he'd be a pirate, he'd be a cowboy, he'd be an astronaut. And I was saying, I don't remember him ever being a taxi driver. I don't know why Mr. Ben come into my head for that. And that was on Tuesday. Anyway, a couple of days later, it was announced that David McKee had died. So yeah, rather apt, rather spooky, and rather sad as well. But yeah, that was part of my childhood though, from the 70s. Other stuff that's gone on this week, if you've been travelling anywhere at all, why bother? Manchester Airport has been absolutely chaotic. It's been so bad that people have been saying that they're never going to use Manchester Airport ever again. The only problem is it's not only Manchester Airport, it's also happening at Gatwick, Heathrow, Birmingham International, whatever it's called, and I think Glasgow has had a few issues as well. But obviously we live in the northwest, so we get the story of Manchester Airport, and it seems what happens is in order to do the security, you've got to be checked out, obviously, and people have left because of COVID. Hi JT, have left because of COVID, got other jobs and whatnot, and they haven't been replaced yet. And the reason they haven't been replaced yet is because it takes weeks to replace people and train people up. But surely they would have seen this coming, wouldn't they? Anyway, it has cost the head of Manchester Airport her job, and she said she's quitting because she wants to spend more time with the family. No, you're quitting because you're rubbish at your job, and you couldn't see the bleeding obvious that was coming towards you, which was people travelling again. Not that I agree with all the travelling or anything, but anyway, that's beside the point. Other news this week, which was a bit bizarre, was Elon Musk. You know, everyone's favourite nutter. He has bought a substantial amount of Twitter. And people are saying he's done it because he wants to put an edit button on Twitter. So when you tweet something, you can edit it afterwards. And I'm like, yeah, a number of times I've done it where I've typed something on Twitter, but I made a spelling mistake. Yeah, that's fine. You can edit that. But what happens if you type something and then everyone goes mad at you for it, and you think, oh, I'll change it round. So instead of saying, you know, I hate Lewis Hamilton, not that there's anything wrong with that, I love Lewis Hamilton, and then everyone underneath slagging you off for it, it just wouldn't work. So the only way the edit button would work is if all comments and all likes and retweets are removed if you edit a comment on Twitter. But anyway, Elon Musk, he's got nothing better to do, has he? Idiot. I mean that in a polite generous way, by the way. I don't mean that in a horrible way. I do. I stand the guy. I really don't like him at all. Anyway, never met him. But, you know. Another guy who I'm not overly keen on is Ed Sheeran. Everyone's favourite busker. And nature pool owner as well. Because remember, a few years ago, he put a pool in the middle of a field that he owns without planning permission, but said it was for nature, and it was like white, bright blue, and it had a diving board on it as well. I mean, I've seen videos of foxes bouncing on trampolines and bears in America doing the similar kind of thing, but I don't think I've ever seen any animal, any nature jumping off a springboard. But anyway, that's beside the point. That's not what this is about. He got sued for "Way away away away" in a song, "I'm in love with your body," which I actually thought was alright when I first heard it, by some grime artist who said that basically the whole thing had been stolen from him. And they played the two together, and I'm like, yeah, I can see where it's coming from. But Ed Sheeran won because he said he'd never heard the song. But I mean, out of millions of years, tens of years of pop music, what's the chances for someone coming out with "Oh yeah, oh I, oh I, oh hey" within 2 years of each other, the second one being Ed Sheeran, without him hearing it? Anyway, he then had a rant on social media saying that he's fed up with people saying he's nicking stuff all the time, and he's a good artist and all this kind of gubbins. And I'm like, go away, Ed Sheeran. I like some of his songs. I like that castle one he built. No, he didn't build the castle, did he? No, that would be ridiculous. Other stuff that we're talking about this week is divorce, made famous by Tammy Wynette. It wasn't Tammy Wynette, it was Dolly Parton. Anyway, you can now get divorced without saying that the reason is your partner, or your husband or wife, has done something. So you can get divorced. It's like a no-reason divorce. I mean, I don't understand it because I've never been married. But anyway, apparently some people think it's brilliant and other people think it's dreadful. I reserve judgment. Imran Khan, famous for being a cricketer, Pakistan cricketer, international Pakistan cricketer. He was very good, very outspoken. Become president of Pakistan. I mean, how does that happen? Why do some people get into politics when they know nothing about it? It makes me wonder sometimes what's going on in the world. Anyway, he's got himself involved in politics, and he's now, and has been for a while, the Super Game plays, and JT. He's now the proud president of Pakistan. Except no one likes him, so they're all impeaching him and trying to get rid of him. So we'll see how that one goes on. He's also not denounced Russia invading Ukraine, which I think is not a good thing to do, particularly with all the war crimes which are being absolutely blatantly obvious to anyone that the Russian army, and I'm not saying Ukrainians haven't done war crimes either, it's war, these things happen, but I mean it's one thing to shoot a prisoner, it's another thing to use a cruise missile on a place where there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people, civilians, trying to escape. For example, today, this railway station, where yesterday there was video shot of 4,000, 5,000 people trying to escape, and then today it gets a cruise missile landing on it, killing many, injuring many, many more. And Russia say it's nothing to do with us, we don't do war crimes, blah de blah de blah. It's the Ukrainians who are shooting at themselves, trying to blame us for everything. And it's like, that didn't work last time. That didn't work when you bombed the school, not the school, the theatre. People need to be held accountable for their actions. Not only the people who fired the missiles, but the people in charge. And I don't just mean Putin, I mean all of them. They should be facing war crimes. And yeah, that's it. End of. Rishi Sunak. Remember 2 weeks ago, Rishi Sunak was everyone's favourite. Oh, I can't wait for him to be Prime Minister. He'll be great as Prime. Even I said that. And I'm like, Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister. Yay. That's going to be good. Hi, Angela. turns out he's as big a wazzock as the rest of them. His wife, who's a multi-billionairess, is basically a non-dom. Now, non-dom means that although you live in the country, you are not. You're saying that you're not going to stay in this country, and so what you do is any money you earn in this country you have to pay tax on, and she earns a lot of money, so she pays a lot of tax. But any money that you earn abroad, because you're a non-dom, you only pay the tax in that country. And her father has given her shares in her father's company, which is absolutely one of the biggest companies in India. And the problem is that because she's living at 11/10 Downing Street, I think they swapped the flats over, she is saying she's non-dom, but she's living in Downing Street with her husband, who is the Chancellor of the Exchequer. It's not illegal, it's immoral. And then it turns out that Rishi Sunak, everyone's favourite, had a green card for America up to a few weeks ago. Well, maybe 12 months ago or whatever. And that's just come out as well. And now everyone's saying that Boris is doing this because Boris is trying to discredit Rishi. Why would you discredit the one person in your party that people like? Because they don't like Boris, let's be honest. It just seems bonkers. Anyway, no doubt that one will go on and on and on. Next up, we've got a criminal. It's Boris Becker. Now, Boris Becker was bankrupt in 2017, something like that. And lots of people, lots of money. The who's, the where's, the why for, not got a clue. Anyway, turned out he wasn't as bankrupt as he said he was. He actually had millions of pounds worth of stuff hidden away in different places. And he basically lied. So he got all his debts written off. And then all of a sudden, all this stuff reappeared again. And the police are like, and everyone's like, whoa, hang on a minute. You're supposed to be bankrupt. How come you're flying first class? How come you're doing this? How come you're doing that? So anyway, they looked into it, and it turned out he'd squirreled away loads of stuff. Now, they charged him with just under 30 counts, and 20 odd of them he got found not guilty, but 4 of them he got found guilty. And one of them, or rather 2 of them, were he said he no longer had the trophies that he'd won when he won Wimbledon when he was a kid. That's Boris Becker again, but he's not aged well, has he? When he won Wimbledon. You don't get the actual trophy, but you get a copy of the trophy, which is worth a lot of money. And apparently he'd hidden them away, and they'd suddenly reappeared on his mantelpiece or wherever, and like I say, questions were asked. He's going to get sentenced next week or next month, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because he could go to prison for quite a long while, which is not good. Backhander Beck. Yeah, he was very good with the backhand. I remember I was working at the children's home. It was the first job I ever had. And I went in to the community service. Yeah, teaching kids how to play tennis. That'd be alright, wouldn't it? I went in to teach them how to play rugby. That'd be better. They can all run into him and knock him over. But I went into the office, and the woman there, she was watching Wimbledon on a telly. And hi there, SJ. And she had this telly on, and it was Boris Becker, as is there, because there is he? No, he's there. There he is. Boris Becker, as he was then, because obviously that's when he played tennis. And what happened was he was doing really well, and I said, no, not know anything about tennis. Oh, he'll win. And she went, oh, he won't win. I meant the whole thing. She said, he won't win the whole thing because he's only a kid, and there's all these experienced people and all that. I said, well, I don't know anything. I'm just saying that. Anyway, he won the whole of Wimbledon, and then he won it again later on, and then he snaffled away the copies of his trophies. Now, talking of a winner who has had more comebacks than Frank Sinatra, Tiger Woods. What the hell is going on with him? He's like he ain't as bad as someone else who is the female version with the initials KP. Anyway, Tiger Woods. I mean, they're on about at the moment in sports that if you're transgender, whether or not you should or shouldn't be allowed to compete in the gender that you've transitioned to, or rather the gender that you were born as. And there's a big kerfuffle going on about that. I have no real opinion on it, I'll be honest. But there should be one about how much metal is inside you. Because, I swear to God, he's bionic now. He's had so many operations on his back. He's had hip operations. He's now, about a year ago, or 14 months ago, he had a massive car crash where he drove off a cliff and fractured his leg in a bazillion places and should have died but didn't. So obviously he's got loads of pins and things in his legs, and I reckon they've put in what's it called, bionic eyes now as well. So I reckon he's bionic, which makes it unfair on everyone else because he's come back to the Masters and he's like a Terminator. He's just kind of annihilating everything. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Tiger Woods. It's, you know, the FIFA game when Rooney was on the cover. If you look at them from like 2006, you can see his hair going further and further back on his head, and then it kind of reappears on the front of his head again because he had a hair transplant. Well, with Tiger Woods, if they were still doing PGA golf, you'd just see him getting metalier and metalier and metalier and stronger and stronger. He's had a few operations being a transformer and driving himself from hole to hole. He's definitely had a lot of stuff going on. He's not had the best life ever, it's got to be said. Next thing is energy. Now, I said in the paper, those of you who know me know that I write, or I used to write, in the Wigan Observer paper. I can't now because I'm going up for election, so obviously I'm not allowed to write in a paper at the moment. So if I win the election, we'll have to look at it again. If I don't win the election, then I'll just go back to it, all being well. But I wrote this week about how we need to sort the energy issues out. We are relying too much on foreign energy sources when we've got plenty of energy sources around us. It's going to take years for us to develop and get nuclear power. Basically, it just takes ages and ages and ages to build a nuclear power station. So that's not going to happen overnight. So one thing I put in the paper was we should look again at fracking. Because the one thing that they said about fracking was that it's going to drop dramatically the price of gas. Now, there might be a few rumbles and a few vibrations, but if it drops my gas bill by what it's gone up by over the last 6 months, I'll take a few rumbles in the jungle. It's on our doorstep, so it's not environmentally friendly. We're currently getting it shipped in from America. I mean, how environmentally friendly is that? We are not going to not use gas anytime soon. So forget all these greenhouse gas emission things and all that kind of gubbins. We're going to have nuclear and wind power coming, and solar power, although it's a bit pointless in the UK, soon, but they're not going to come overnight. Fracking is there already. They've done all the tests, they've done all this, they've done all that. I reckon within a couple of years we could have proper fracking going on, and we could be producing more than enough gas whilst we wean ourselves off it. I'm not saying we should do it all the time. They've said they're going to build 8 nuclear power stations, JT, in the UK, and it's going to be nuclear fusion rather than the other nuclear, which is it's better because it's more environmentally friendly. You produce less nuclear waste, and nuclear fusion. That's it. Rather than nuclear fission, which is what we currently have. If you do it right, it could be unlimited power, so that would be even better. So there's stuff like that going on. But again, you're talking 10, 15, 20 years before they go online, and we need this sorting out now. I keep going on about hydrogen. I say this all the time, and again I put it in the paper. Electricity in cars is not environmentally friendly. The batteries themselves, forget the fact that what do you do with them when the car batteries run out, which they do regularly. Excuse me, I've got a very runny nose. I've had a cold this week. It's not COVID, it's a cold. Not COVID, it's a cold. But the nuclear fusion is... No, I blew my nose then. I think it blew my brain out. Not literally. I'm not Kurt Cobain. Too soon, sorry. Anyway, I basically said that hydrogen is the only way that we should be powering cars, because the batteries are relying on child labour in third world countries to get the precious metals, of which we are digging up huge quantities of earth, which is not environmentally friendly. We're destroying wooded areas to get to it, which is not environmentally friendly, and then we're shipping it all around the world, which is not environmentally friendly. We then have to put down loads of copper wrapped in plastic, which is not environmentally friendly, all over the planet to power these cars by having charge points at various places like car parks, motorway service stations, all that kind of thing. Then you have to build the charging units themselves, and then obviously, like I said before, what do you do when the batteries run out? It's just complete waste of time. What we need to do is we need to look at, I think it was Toyota who've got an advert out at the minute that says that they are doing, and they are looking into hydrogen power. Rolls-Royce need to look into hydrogen power for aeroplanes, because you can't have a battery jumbo jet. That just never work. The power plants they're on about, they're going to put them roughly where power plants are already. So we've already got two in the northwest. You've got Windscale, which is not called Windscale now, it's called Sellafield, and then you've got one just Heysham, which is near Morecambe. So they are quite nearby, and they're nuclear power stations. They're on about building them near there, and then they're going to build the rest, a couple on the east coast and then a couple on the south coast. At least that's the plan, but obviously these things take a lot of time. But we need the energy sorting now. So short term, we need to get fracking back online. All these protesters, who, let's be honest, most of them don't have a job, so we're basically paying for them to heat their electricity, whatever. I suppose if they stay outside, yeah, so they stay outside, they're getting, they don't have to heat their homes, do they? So they're not wasting electricity. So yeah, get them all out there, that's fine. But yeah, it's just, we need to sort stuff out now. We cannot rely on countries like Russia and China, and we need to move away from China, because all these chips that they make in China, we need to make them elsewhere. We need to remove ourselves from these countries and our reliance on them as well. I know I bought quite a lot of stuff from Wish App, but that was before I knew better. But I know better now. So yeah, scary times. But we need to sort it now, not wait and wait and wait. And I think that's the most important thing to bear in mind. The other thing is, Grand National is on this weekend, and it is full of, particularly today, ladies with weird dresses and hats on, because it's Ladies' Day. Talking of ladies, what's she called? Rachel Blackcomb won last year, and she's racing again on the same horse that she won last year on. She's the first female ever to win it. Obviously, she'll be the first female to win it again. But there's also a grey mare who, if that horse wins it, would be the first grey to win it. Also, well, the first grey mare to win it, and also the first mare that's had a foal to win it, which is all a bit weird. Have there been any talks on fracking in the government? Yeah, a few weeks ago, going back to fracking, what they'd said was, the government, that the well that they dug near Preston, which is actually this actual well here, where is it? There it is. That well there, to fill it in with concrete, because we ain't going to go down the fracking route, because the NIMBYs were all complaining about it. And then gas prices just went mental. So what they said then was, right, we'll leave it for now, don't fill the hole in, and we'll get back to you in 12 months' time. And then the gas prices went even more mental, and now they've said, right, get back out there and start doing more tests, and we need to get this online because we need the fuel. We cannot possibly change 25 million gas boilers, as much as green people want. We cannot change that within the timescale of losing gas supplies from Russia. So we need to find an alternative. We've got stuff, like I said in the paper, we've got stuff still underground in the North Sea, oil and gas, which we've left because it wasn't economically viable. It is economically viable now because it's so expensive. So again, we need to sort ourselves out for the time being. I'm not saying do this permanently, but for the time being, sort ourselves out with gas and oil from our own areas, i.e. the North Sea and our own land, whilst we wean ourselves off them. So we replace cars with hydrogen cars, we replace lorries and buses with electric lorries and buses, don't have a problem with that, and we replace all gas appliances with electric appliances as well. I mean, they keep going on about heat pumps and stuff like that, but again, just the price of them and the fact that you only save a small amount over a long period of time, I don't think they're really cost effective either. Plus, throwing stuff out that isn't out of date, is still modern but can't be recycled, i.e. old boilers and whatever, then that's a waste of time and not good for the environment either. So we need to do it naturally over a period of time. We've already reduced our carbon emissions as a country by 44% since 1990, which is pretty impressive. And that's just for doing simple stuff. But let's be honest, if we went carbon neutral tomorrow, it wouldn't make a jot of difference to the rest of the world. We are tiny. We are tiny. It doesn't matter what we do. It's irrelevant when you've got India, Russia, Pakistan, China, America to a degree, just pumping out more and more and more carbon. Whatever we do is completely irrelevant. It makes no difference whatsoever. We're just doing it for the sake of doing it. It doesn't matter what we do. I agree we need to do something, but it is a fruitless, pointless exercise because we have got such a small area that we are working on. I mean, planting all these trees and people buying fields off farmers so they can plant trees. So, you know, when you go to these places and they say, if you buy sulphur from us, we'll plant 2 trees. Well, yeah, that's great. The only problem is they're using arable land where we need to grow food. Because if we rely on people like Ukraine, who are one of the biggest producers of grain in Europe, if not the world, and they're obviously going through a bit of a crisis at the minute. That's an understatement. I'm not trying to belittle what's going on there, but we need to be able to be self-sufficient and grow our own food, and that's surely more important than planting a couple of trees, which isn't going to make a huge amount of difference because you bought a sofa. You get my drift. So yeah, the world at the moment is bonkers, which is why I've taken the bizarre step of deciding, ready for a massive picture, to stand in Pemberton as a local councillor, independent councillor. That is Pemberton, by the way, if you're not familiar with it. That's the Swan Pub, the White Swan Pub, and the main high street where the car is, just over there. That's the main high street bit. It's right in my first shop, and I know a lot of people from the area as well. So yeah, I'm standing in the local elections as a independent candidate for the Pemberton ward. I'm going to do things differently. For a start, any money I earn, apart from expenses, legitimate expenses, I am going to put, just so the UK could fit the Amazon rainforest 70 times into the... Yeah, exactly, JT. Oh yeah, what am I going to do? Half the money I earn from being a councillor, because I'm not doing it for the money. It's going to take time, so I'm going to take some compensation for my time, but not as much as what you get paid. Half of it I'm going to put straight back into the ward. I'm going to donate it to worthy causes, be that a nursery or a food bank or a homeless shelter or something like that. Someone who helps people in the ward. I'm going to have fortnightly meetings on different days, at different times, so I can meet the people of the ward. This is if I win. Then I'm also going to stand against the development of the galleries in Wigan. I agree that something needs to be done. No one's arguing about that. But the way they're doing it with money from China is the riskiest thing in the world. And I say here and now, and I've said in the paper and I've said on the vlogs, that anyone on the planning committee or anyone on the council cabinet and anyone in the full council who voted for this should resign with immediate effect should this fall through, because you are wrecking lives. Loads of people have lost the jobs that they've had for 20, 30 years. We're also knocking down a building that Princess Diana, opened just over 30 years ago. That's not economically, environmentally friendly either. So things need to be done, and no one's standing up to Labour. I'm going up against Labour bigwig, which is Paul Prescott, and he is like Mr. Wigan, Mr. Labour, and I'm David. He's the Goliath. I know that. I'm not stupid, but I also know I can win this. So I'm going for it full bore. As it happens, I've got loads of time to go for it full bore because, due to the council and him, I have no shop. Whilst I'm still trying to find somewhere. Every time I find somewhere, it falls through. It's really frustrating. But I'm enjoying the time off. I've had a good few lie-ins. Getting my head back on and getting ready for the new challenge. I've run things before whilst I've been running my shop. I was a chairman of a motor racing club for over 10 years. I was on the committee of the same racing club for 13 years. I can do more than one thing at once. I've got a sense of humour. I don't take myself too seriously unless I have to. And when I do take myself seriously, I do take myself seriously. I can be very argumentative and I can be a dog with a bone. But I also enjoy life. We're all going to be dead in 50 years. So, apart from possibly JT and Sean J. But let's enjoy life. So I'm a secret millionaire. No, I'm not a secret millionaire. I wish. I'm only going local elections. But that's why I'm saying I'm not doing it for the money. Half the money I earn, as long as I'm a councillor, not just for the first year, this is forever, I'm going to donate to charities and needy causes in my ward. Because why should I be rich when the people I represent are struggling to pay bills, childcare, this kind of thing? Something needs to be done. Now, initially, a councillor's wage is more than you think. I think it's about 12 grand, something like that. But then if you get on committees and cabinets and things like that, then that goes up and up and up. So you could be looking at £500 a month that I could be just donating to things. After tax is probably about £350. But that is going to be donated. That is 100%. I'm going to try and help the people of the Pemberton ward. And I'm also going to try and save Wigan Town Centre. So I've got to get my act together. I'm still working on things. I've been working on the leaflets and the YouTube stuff I'm doing. This picture here is going to be on my first presentation I do. And it's going to be, I don't like people knowing my name, but people have to know my name for this. So that will be everywhere. You'll be fed up of hearing my name. And independent and all that kind of gubbins. And the beauty of being independent is, A, if Labour come up with something locally that I think is a good idea, I can vote for it. If the Conservatives come up with something that I think is a good idea, I can vote for it. And if an independent comes up with something that's a good idea, I can vote for it. The problem you've got is there are too many Labour councillors, and they just vote en masse. They're like sheep. It's like someone press a button. You know them pads that they put on people, and when they do something wrong, they get an electric shock. I think they've all got them in, and then someone presses a button, and they'll kind of alert, and they either stick their hand up for whatever they're voting on, or they press the button on whatever they're voting on, and then they kind of doze off again. That, for me, is not a democracy. That, for me, is, well, it's not a democracy. Something else that begins with D. But anyway, I digress. So, yeah, that is the big news of the week for me, anyway, is I've been accepted and I am on the voting form for the local elections. I genuinely, when I started all this off, had no intention of any political career. I've already done politics. I've already been a leader, a chairman, and I don't see the point of changing and going back to where I was. And now I'm like, why have I thought that? There's so much I could do. There is, I'm still comparatively young, certainly in mind. I could be, if my health holds up, I could be a counsellor for 10, 15 years. I've got life experience. I've done lots of things in my life. I've been in lots of situations. I've been at the stage where, I'm broke and I've ended up on a motorway bridge thinking, what is the point? I've done all this. I've been there. I've done that. I can relate with people and I can do what I can do to help people. I mean, I do it in my own house. I've had people stay here who are going through really bad times and just give them space to get their heads together. We have a chat if they need a chat and then they move on, and hopefully I've done my little bit. Don't charge anything. I don't charge rent or anything daft like that. Just get a new room. Yeah, because I'll have time. It's not like full time. But I'm here for people. I'm not here for myself to be thanked that much. I'm more here for other people. I think that's why I was put on the planet. That's why I become chairman of the Stock Car Club, because I could see it was going downhill, and I turned it around. And the only reason I left was because I didn't agree with what the rest of the committee was doing, and because I'm not a dictator, I let the committee decide what they wanted to do, and I thought it was the wrong thing to do at the time, so I resigned. But that's how I am. I listen to people and we either agree or disagree. To be fair, I was getting a bit bored of doing it anyway, and it felt more like rather than a passion, it felt like a job. So I needed a break, and that was a couple of years ago. So, yeah, politics is something you have the gift of the gab for. I always thought I'd be good on QVC as well. Right then, so here we have this remote control. It's a Philips remote control. Philips is a very famous name from the Hollandish area. You've also got the option of Netflix and F-Play and Rakuten TV, and then you've got all the buttons and everything, and it's only $14.95. But if you order today, we'll send you two out for the price of 20 quid. So there you go then. I can talk for hours about this. It's got a compartment at the back where you put batteries in, although you won't be able to see that because the batteries are green. So yeah, I can talk too much. But I've been on for, how long have I been on for now? A while. Let's have a look. 38 minutes. I normally do these for 30 minutes. And more people have been on talking, which is good. So let's have a recap, shall we? We mourned the passing of Dot Cotton, June Brown. I watched her on, what was it called? Family Tree thing. Who do you think you are? And she completely bonkers. She was completely off her head. But that's why we liked her. She said what she thought, and there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, we lost the writer of Mr. Ben, who was David McKee. If I was Prime Minister, what things would you run on? If you were Prime Minister, well, it'd be you running, wouldn't it? Not me. What three things would you run on? First off, I would privatise, nationalise water, electricity and gas, because I don't see how essentials of life should give people who live in different countries millions of pounds of profit. So that's the first thing I'd do, and nationalise them. Nationalise. I probably... I'll do that. I'll do them more often. I would then also look at... what else would I do? I think that'd be the main thing. Yeah, three things. Nationalise. Why should people make money off essentials? Yeah, I was saying before, Angela, that Mr. Ben was fantastic. And I actually talked about him. If you watch the driving video I did on Tuesday, I think it was going to my mum's rather than coming back from my mum's, I actually mentioned Mr. Ben and was on about him, and then sadly the author passed away a couple of days later, which I thought was a bit... nationalised public transport. Yeah, I'd definitely nationalise the railways, and I'd nationalise buses as well. I mean, I'm on about... Another thing I want to do for the Wigan Council is get rid of all these bike lanes and put bus lanes in instead, because more people use buses than bikes. And why should buses be stuck in traffic because we've taken lines out for bike lanes? When buses are stuck in traffic, they're pumping out all these emissions. Whereas if they get to where they're going quicker, without delay, then more people use them, less traffic on the road, and they won't get stuck in traffic. So there you go. What about tax? Oh, tax everyone to the hill, except for anyone in the who's the Prime Minister, obviously. I'm not stupid. We also talked about Manchester Airport and the delays and the resignation of their was it Chief Executive or MD? Not sure which. And then the horrors that are going on and being revealed now in Ukraine. I mean, how Putin ever thought that he was going to just take over Ukraine and they all be going out there waving Russian flags is beyond me. So now he's just going murdering people for no reason whatsoever. And I'm saying that, I don't care. Put some Novichok on my bloody door handle if you want. But Putin and his cronies are killing people for no reason whatsoever. Make a law that you're allowed to put cyclist electric scooters over your bonnet. Trams would be better. Yeah, here's the thing. We're going back to politics now, aren't we? Hang on, let's get the Wigan thing up again. But different. We'll have a different picture this time. There we go. Pemberton again. Just joined us. I've got a cold. It's not COVID. Done test. I'm fine. Wigan is in Greater Manchester, but everyone says we're in Lancashire. We're all in Greater Manchester when it suits Greater Manchester for us to be in Greater Manchester. For example, when they had the tier system, if you remember the tier system they had, what they did was they took us out of Greater Manchester because we didn't have any COVID cases, Wigan, but then they put everyone else in a higher tier than us, which meant everyone from Greater Manchester then come to Wigan. So we ended up having more COVID than what Greater Manchester did. Completely pointless. Tram system. The tram system doesn't come anywhere near Wigan because it's too expensive. But you're happy enough to take our taxes and then put us on the clean air zone, CAS. But that, again, allegedly, was my enemy, not my enemy, my opposition in the election, Paul Prescott, who actually put a motion in with the cabinet, which are like the top 9 people in the 75 that are elected in the council, didn't even discuss it with the rest of them and put us in CAS, which is why we've got the signs up everywhere. And then 10,000 people signed online petition against it, and now it's under review. 5,000 people went to Wigan Market and signed a petition in person regarding Wigan Market, and it's still going ahead because 5,000 is irrelevant, according to Paul Prescott, councillor. We need to change things. We're either in Greater Manchester or we're not in Greater Manchester, or it's not going ahead in May. No, that's why it's up for review. That's why if you look at the signs, it says under review. If you go on the motorway, it says under review. So yeah, and hopefully if I get on the council, I'll do my best to remove us from it, because we don't have a clean air issue. I mean, we're practically a country town. The only time we have a clean air issue is when the council dig up the roads and cause congestion. That's when we have a clean... We got rid of the council and stopped digging up roads for no reason, like Saddle Junction, like Wigan Pier, Myrie Lane, all that kind of area. There wouldn't be a problem in Wigan. It's just... Oh, it's just infuriating. What I would do is I would put ahead for... If we can't get the trams, get these bus lane things in, where they got them in Atherton, where the buses drive through the countryside, but they cut out loads of traffic and everything, and then they just end up in Manchester, or on the outskirts of Manchester, and then they go on the bus lanes to get into Manchester. We don't have any of that in Wigan. We're on the cycle lanes, that's what we should be doing. Anyway, I'm going back to my recap of what is going on. Elon Musk has bought a massive amount of shares in Twitter, apparently because he wants an edit button. Ed Sheeran has said he's not a plagiarist. He writes all his own music, and if it sounds similar to anyone else's, that's pure coincidence. Yeah, right. I agree. It is. You can divorce people now without a reason, without saying that your partner has done this, that, and the other. You can just divorce them. Again, I've never been married, so I've no idea what that entails. But some people are happy, some people are not. We've been on about energy. We're trying to go green, which is fair enough. It won't make a jot of difference to the rest of the planet. But anyway, we need to remove our reliance on Russia and other countries and America for our oil and gas. So we need to build more nuclear power stations like that one. We need to get fracking back, and we need to get back in the North Sea. And whilst we wind down our use of fossil fuels, we should use our own fossil fuels. Why are we paying people to ship it in from all over the world? No idea. The Transformer stroke Terminator, that is Tiger Woods, is back in the US Masters after nearly dying last year from a car crash. Former cricketer, Pakistan President Imran Khan, is facing a vote of no confidence. People are losing confidence in Rishi Sunak because it seems not only is his wife a bit of a tax dodger, but he's as well. Boris Becker has been found guilty of fraud for declaring that he was bankrupt when he'd snaffled away millions of pounds worth of stuff, including trophies or copies of the trophies he'd won at Wimbledon. He's getting sentenced next week or next month, and tomorrow is the Grand National. So yeah, there you go then. What can you say? Apart from not a lot. Oh, hang on. Everything's gone. Everything's gone silly. There we go. So what have you written? UK has too much inadequacy between rich and poor. To be fair, it's less than what it is in other countries, although it is vast. I wish they put the smart motorway in review before jamming the roads up with those death traps. I'm jury out with smart motorways. I think they have a purpose, but I think they could be, particularly with technology now, I think they could be safer. I was on a smart motorway a few months ago. It was M6, and it said lane 1, which used to be the hard shoulder, closed, broken down vehicle, and it said it 3 times, and then we got the red cross over it. And everyone pulled into the second lane, and we actually drove past, after about 2 or 3 miles, a car that was stranded. And I thought that was good. But then you get the knob jockeys who drive along in their Audis, the Golfs and the BMWs, who think they're better than everyone else, who will think everyone's going slow in lane 2, 3 and 4. I'm going to nip in lane 1 and go in the back of that car. So yeah, it's not the motorways that are the problem. It's the drivers who are selfish and just selfish. If they were working on a motorway and it had a red cross on it because they're putting cones out or whatever, and someone come belting up, they'd be the first people to complain, but it's alright when they do it. Yeah, fuming. Politicians are for the rich, not the poor. Excuse me. I'm attempting to go in. Have they been laid with GSEs? Yeah. I'm putting up for politicians, and I don't want to be a rich politician. I've already said I'm going to donate half of anything I earn to worthy causes in my ward, be it nurseries, food banks, homeless shelters, old people meeting up for a coffee or whatever. Yeah, not all politicians are the same. Hashtag just saying. Anyway, that is your lot, methinks. Boris has got away without a bashing today. It's unusual. I'll make up for it next week, don't worry. These will continue, by the way. I can't write in the paper anymore, because obviously that's just local. But I am obviously allowed to do whatever I want on my own social media. So this will be carrying on. The daily vlogs will be carrying on as well. But I will be stopping the weekly vlogs The next one will be the last one because I've replaced them with daily vlogs. But I'm going to do 2 daily vlogs. So we'll have the one for the shop, and then we'll have the one of how the election's going. They may alternate day for day, but if something happens on both, I'll do 2 short videos. Weights and all that will still carry on. COVID status will still carry on a Sunday, but they're not gonna. The new normal vlogs after a year. It's not new normal anymore. It's just normal. Yeah. Anyway, that is your lot. Thank you very much for watching. We've got a bit of lag going on. What's going on there? Why is that lagging? Oh, we're back. We're off again. Perfect timing to say goodbye. Oh dear. Yeah, there you go. You're back. Can only assume that the internet's being used somewhere else in the house. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Indeed, you stay are. I'm making leaflets, but I'm waiting. I'm not sending them out yet. I will be distributing them wherever soon. If anyone wants to come and help, be greatly appreciated. Just shove me through letterboxes, that kind of thing. But I'm currently designing them, taking pictures, writing them. But I'm not doing it in the style of a politician. I'm doing it in the style of me, because politician speak is just boring and not interesting. So I'm doing it like I'm writing a column for the paper, or like I talk to you guys. So it's going to be completely different from anything you've seen before. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Indeed, you still are. Mr. Ben is saying goodbye. I'm saying goodbye as well. So thanks for watching. Until next time. Oh, hang on. I'm not saying goodbye to everyone, have I? Oh, no. Thank you to Toff, JT, the Super Gamer Plays, Angela O'Kane, Sean J, Tata Lad, Kim Brad, War Edit, DC number 9, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all again next time. And we'll be back in a week to see what a week next week was. I'm not a counsellor yet, if ever. Take care. Bye.